know your numbers. Absolutely know your numbers. And at the end of the day, I mean, like, it's pretty simple for me. I looked at it. I want my key players to act like owners and think like owners and consider themselves owners. And the easiest way is to actually make them owners.
Yeah. By the way, we are in the Cayman Islands. I think Georgia or something like that. I'm just going to introduce the...
Georgia?
Or something. I thought that was the name of the province or whatever.
Oh.
Apparently it's
provinces.
British Virgin Islands?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Can you do a British accent?
Hello. You are now listening to the Hook Butter Leads podcast with Joe Hoffman.
Hello, sir. I can't do it. I come out sounding Jamaican or something.
I think that sounded like a little chimney sweep.
I don't know.
It sounded like a little guy that goes up in chimneys. Hello! I'm not even up here. Don't even worry
Poppins.
about me.
Yeah. A remake of a Dickens play.
Yeah. We're talking about several things today. We're going to discuss running multiple businesses. We're going to discuss stoicism.
Let's go.
And we're going to talk about, I think, probably around like mental performance as a leader. And
can we talk about those glasses a little bit?
Yeah. So these glasses are Ray-Bans, by the way, and I'm going to use them as part of content. Not only just these podcasts to give a perspective of the beautiful places that we might be shooting in.
Dude, they're sick.
But also, just like if we do some like door knocking content.
Are you going to cut them into this? Like
Oh,
content right now?
Oh yeah, this is going to be part of the thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
My badass video guy is going to kind of do a little bit of back and forth between the two shots so you can kind of see what we're talking about. Yeah. But the Ray-Bans, and these are transition lenses, and right now it's only a minute long, so that's why I have to restart it. But I'm going to black out the little recording light so that we can do it a little covertly.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be good for training purposes too, for door knockers.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, you can use them for a lot of things, basically.
Well, I'm excited now too because I don't know if my right side or my good side is my left or my right is my good side.
Yeah.
So now if my right side happens to be my good side, your video guy can just catch this side.
Exactly.
If my left side is a good side, then I got our audience right here.
Absolutely. So I guess let's tackle the first topic of...
Are you going to throw hardballs at me?
No.
No hardballs?
I'm not the hardball guy. I'm trying to find the most constructive things for roofing business owners that are scaling from $3 to $10 million.
Ooh,
or in some cases we get lucky and we help them go from $10 to $20 million.
All right.
And beyond. But the
geek out on this.
The core audience is owners, leaders at roofing businesses that are really trying to grow and feel, let's say, imagine that they might feel stuck, let's say at a $5 million level.
Yep.
So is, from your point of view, what is let's do it real from your point of view. Throw these on for a second.
Oh, all right. Oh, yeah.
From your point of view, what is the...
I feel more powerful and smarter for sure. Do I look smarter?
Yeah, you look like a Poindexter.
Yeah,
from your point of view, what are the hang-ups, the big speed bumps for roofing businesses as they scale? Like, what are the revenue amounts that you see people get stuck at?
Yeah. All right. So the first one is around $5 million. 5 to 7 million is that is a good. Can I give these back to you?
Yeah. Why do you think people get stuck there?
Because it requires a totally different set. As the owner, you can't do things anymore effectively. You have to delegate tasks and you have to manage and lead. And to get past that 7 million mark, you're gonna be pulling your freaking hair out at 5 million. But to get past 7 million, you have to effectively manage, lead, hire, train, delegate, all those things.
What would you say? I think about
hard point, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Respect anybody there. Keep fighting a good fight. You will get through it.
I think about levers or skills to learn if you don't have that skill. The ones I think about are obviously sales, but usually these guys have gotten pretty good at sales. and then it's more like sales leadership. A lot of them are pretty good at sales. Would you agree or do you disagree with that?
I think it's pretty easy to get up to that 7 million mark. Frankly, good sales will cover a lot of institutional sins, up to about 15 million. And you can get there without a lot more of the understanding of the necessary underlying infrastructure, development, and processes, and everything else.
Is there a danger to that? Just
absolutely
sales powering your way all the way up there. What is the danger there?
Biggest danger?
Yeah.
Dude, it's not sexy. It's not going to play well on the podcast. You
That's
sure
okay.
you want me to answer it?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Accounting.
Okay.
Freaking accounting.
Yeah.
Is not understanding your numbers is what I have seen over the years. I have seen so many roofing companies go out of business and lack of understanding. And the problem is you can sell $10, $15 million and lose $1 million really, really easily. And if you have a really powerful sales engine, you're going to be bringing in a lot of down payments and a lot of first checks, and you can build up a huge amount of cash and not realize that none of it is yours, and you're actually in the hole. But eventually the house of cards comes down. Eventually, if you're not making an actual profit on an accrual-based method, not just cash in the bank, it will catch up to you. And when that day comes, it is painful for a lot of fucking people. I've seen that so many times.
So, what's something that people could do to kind of try to get a handle on that, or what's a couple numbers maybe to focus on, like be cognizant of, so that, let's say, if they were going from 5 to 10, that they don't fall into that trap?
Basic studying of understanding your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, your statement of cash flows, and how those three interact with each other. And like really understanding your profit and loss statement, your chart of accounts, your COGS, your cost of goods sold, versus your expenses, what net profit means, the difference between gross profit and net profit. Really understanding your chart.
I think that's interesting. A lot of people don't know the difference between gross and net.
Dude, I know.
I didn't for till a year ago.
Hey, I'm not knocking them, but I actually kind of am judging. I know companies that have been in business for a long time and they just somehow squeak through. $30 million companies that don't know their books and are still operating on cash, and they just kind of managed to make it. But I know a lot more that have failed. I know a lot of them that didn't account for certain things, and all of a sudden they went, oh shit, we didn't account for prepaid sales liabilities. We had $2 million in the bank 45 days ago, and now we're $200,000 into a line of credit, and we owe $300,000 in material distributors, and oh shit, we have payroll coming on Friday, and we're out of cash, and nobody's getting paid, and it's a painful, horrible experience, and but yes, there's a lot of them that don't, and it is not rocket science, man. I'm a freaking roofer. I am a proud graduate of the Fridley, Minnesota public education system. I like.
Respect.
Thank you. But this stuff is
one of the top schools in Minnesota. If you don't know, just kidding.
Yeah. You're either lying or ignorant in that statement for sure. No, it's a great school. I don't regret anything. But but they sure as hell didn't teach us accounting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The school system isn't like always so practical. Right?
Yeah. But I think a lot of business owners come in and they want to learn sales and they want to get into sales and they want to push sales, and that's the part that they understand. And accounting is like, oh, that's that boring stuff. Oh yeah, I'll hire somebody to do that. And you know, they just bring in money and they give access to QuickBooks to some part-time accountant that does it, or you know, some poor admin that never had any training on it, doesn't really know what they're doing, and as long as they have cash in the bank, they think that they're doing okay. And it gets them into a lot of trouble, and it especially comes in at about that 15 million mark. That's the point where you really let her know your shit, or you're taking your risks.
Anything else that you recommend? I appreciate those recommendations. Anything else that you recommend to help people avoid this obvious pitfall that we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, 5 to 7 million. If you can learn and study how to delegate, you don't have to go to college for it. There's plenty of free resources online on leadership and different philosophies of leadership, servant leadership, or more top down. Flat. There's a lot of different
books. I like a lot of Lencioni books.
Yeah, books are good.
Dude, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team is one of my favorite leadership books.
Yeah.
I have our leaders read it, and then we do like workshops from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Books are great.
I always paid some consultants.
Yeah, paid consultants. You know what? I do actually. EOS.
Yes.
Massive proponent for EOS.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's.
Talk to me about EOS for your company. Like, when did you start doing that, and like, what did you? Could you give a quick result from it and why?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started, I think it was 2013. My financial advisor, who was a friend of mine and kind of related, and our businesses had grown together. He came in. He gave me a half a day. He had just learned this stuff, and he had implemented it in his business, and it worked amazingly well. And he said, hey, do you want? I can give you a Cliff Notes version in a half a day. And, I think we wound up spending an entire day. We just broke down the system. I took a ton of stuff from it. Went back. It all made sense. It all worked. I wound up hiring an EOS implementer in 2015.
And how did that affect your business the next couple of years? Like, did you grow, or what changed?
You got traction, baby.
And what do you think were a couple of the key moves that you made from traction that helped?
So getting people in the right person in the right seat, right? Which I won't. I could talk about this for a while, but getting people.
This podcast has been getting kind of EOS-y lately.
Is it?
Yeah, I think everyone.
This wasn't planned, but in case you're wondering, we didn't actually sit and.
And EOS is reposting our stuff and stuff like that.
Are they really?
Yeah, it's on their Instagram and stuff. We're starting to get on there. But I just believe in it. I have an implementer. Those types of things. Did you revenue wise? Did you see a jump?
We were on a pretty good revenue climb already.
Sometimes it just makes life easier for you as a leader.
What we saw was, I think, net profit jump. Net profit.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, my personal evolution that I had over the years was at first I chased revenue growth, right? Like a dog chasing a car, I chased revenue growth just mindlessly. Then at some point I had an epiphany and I started chasing profit growth.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was an epiphany, and kind of a Durr moment. But then
I'll do it.
we do, yeah, man. We think, hey, let's sell 5 million. It would be better sell 10 million.
Yeah.
It's like no, we made 500,000. It would be better to make a million. But then the final turn came when I started chasing net profit as a percent of revenue growth. So your net profit margin growth along with net profit growth, and that is probably the single greatest indicator of the health of a company, I think.
Can you break that down for us? That may be not so sophisticated on numbers.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Absolutely.
I've stopped saying I'm bad at numbers, and I've started to say I'm learning at numbers.
I'm about it. So should I talk to you or the camera when I break this down?
You can break it down to the camera. I just want to note on here, I do think that's a common thing for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Stop telling yourself I'm bad at numbers. Start saying I'm learning every day something new about numbers, and I'm getting better and better.
I have an opportunity to learn about something that could positively impact my business.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So you got at the very top, you have your revenue, right? One step down from your revenue, you have your cost of goods sold, COGS. That's like job materials, commissions, labor, stuff that can be directly attributed to a project.
Yeah.
Right? Subtract your COGS from your revenue, you've got your gross profit.
Yeah.
right? That's the money you made specifically on jobs. Underneath that, you have all of your expenses. That's your admin. That's leader salaries. That's your production staff. It's marketing. You can't assign to a job. Lease space. You can't assign to a job. That's so your expenses fall underneath that. So when you take your gross profit minus your expenses, you're left with your net profit. How much money is left over at the end of the year? Right? That's your net profit. Your net profit margin is just your net profit divided by your revenue. The very bottom line divided by the very top line. And if you can get that inside, 10% is pretty good. It's healthy. If you get that up to 15%, you're doing solid, right? That puts you in the top 5% contractors. You get that up to 20%, you are absolutely on to something. Now, growing net profit margin along with net profit is harder than it sounds.
I still don't get the difference, but I feel like maybe everyone is smarter than me on this. But
or I'm just explaining it bad, which
no,
is a very
no.
distinct possibility.
Well,
I start geeking out on this stuff.
No, it's good. I hope some people got it. And then people seem to believe that net profit, if you're growing net profit, you'll grow faster. But I've taken it, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs are in the same kind of boat as me.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of times they feel like they're like taking the logs from profit and they're throwing them back in to burn to go faster.
I used to call it feeding the beast.
Yeah. And so that's what I did, and I think maybe some entrepreneur, I just don't think I'm alone in that.
Yeah. No, you're not alone. And it's not just to roofing either. I think it's most businesses, most of your equity is on the value of the business, not necessarily if your business is growing, you're probably reinvesting most of your profits. At least what profits left after someone takes his bite.
And
so yeah,
does it count as profit if you reinvest it, really?
It depends how you reinvest it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, now you're starting to talk, CapEx, different things, but it depends on how you reinvest it.
Hey, I might not follow you there, but do a little bit with us on CapEx because you are a little bit higher level entrepreneur. Talk to us about what you're talking about there.
CapEx would be a capital expenditure, so that is buying something that is essentially still can be depreciated. It's still an asset, right? So you think in terms of money, but instead, if you research the balance sheet, you're really thinking more in terms of assets and liabilities.
Yes.
And so, if you go out and spend, let's say you buy a truck, $50,000, right? You're going to go buy a truck that's $50,000. You spent $50,000, right? No. You transfer $50,000 of cash assets to $50,000 of vehicle assets. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think about that a lot with stocks, right? I'm owning a part of a company.
Yeah.
Well, let's just briefly touch before we get into you have multiple businesses and stuff like that, and I like to learn about how people balance their time with different projects.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, any other investments that you've made? I'm just honestly, I would. Maybe you can't answer on this podcast, but how much stocks do you have? How much do you have commercial real estate? Do you have residential? Do you have any rentals? How are you making your money make you more money?
I would answer that question. I'm not afraid to answer that question, but
you can also say I would like this to be
qualified to answer that question.
Okay, so you have people doing that for you.
No. I just know what I've done, but kind of what I've done. I love businesses. I love starting businesses. Yeah. I like being in the mix. I like, I get really excited about all that stuff, and kind of what's left with the money, I just kind of do
So you use it for
whatever
businesses.
makes sense.
So for instance, I've
Yeah.
Tony Flatter. Let's talk about.
Yeah, he's big into real estate.
Real
Trying to
estate.
get, like, Grant Cardone stuff.
And you pushed more into like, I'm going to invest in multiple businesses.
Yeah, I put most of my money into
Yeah.
businesses. I put most of it into started businesses.
Mhm.
You know,
Do you
but
have
no,
any
I have retirement accounts. I have
Yeah.
stocks and retirement accounts. I have some stocks that Chris Haslam, Fox Financial, they manage that. He takes care of that stuff.
Mhm.
I have bought I've got some
Yeah.
commercial real estate. I've got some rental residential.
But it's not like a large
properties.
percentage of what you've
No.
done. Okay.
No, we have a pretty low lifestyle for the most part. I don't need to actually make that much money, so I just pretty simple for me. That
Yeah.
part, I got enough properties that it covers our living expenses.
Mhm.
The rest of it I put into starting businesses.
I honestly think, even
like
though
that
this
dice
feels
roll.
like, it kind of feels like, oh, this is weird, we're on a roofing podcast. I think this is some of the stuff that people really need to start knowing, because a lot of you guys out there want to get a lot of money in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're running like a well-oiled machine because
Yeah.
you're listening to podcasts like this
Yeah.
and you're constantly doubling down on your education,
Yeah.
or you sell to private equity, and guess what? Now you have a liability sitting around, which is a bunch of cash money, and you're gonna have to spend it on something,
You have to do something with it.
because you can't just sit there and it's
Cash
taxed
is a
up your
depreciating
whatever.
asset.
Yeah. So people are gonna have to spend it again.
Yeah.
You can't just. It's not like $7 million in the bank stays $7 million, whether
Yeah.
it's like inflation or whether it's tax.
Dude, I feel like we're talking too professional for like hanging out by the beach. And
Yeah.
board shorts.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Here, no. I'll where'd my vape pen go? There it is.
Yeah. Feel
I
free.
got this. Here
Yeah.
you
You keep it. You keep it light with the vape for
go.
us.
Yeah, I'll vape for us.
All right. So talk to me about the multiple businesses thing. Like, really,
Yeah.
all I'm asking about, I know it's SMA Support Services, Roofle, and
Yeah.
then Hoffman Weber Construction.
Yeah, that one I exited.
Oh, yeah, okay. And you're not involved in managing it at all anymore either? Okay. And I mean, like, if you were willing to be generous with the terms or anything like that on that, that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
Otherwise, I won't.
Yeah, for sure. No, so but that one, I hadn't actually managed that business for years.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, we joined the Omnia platform and all of a sudden I wasn't in charge anymore. I hadn't been involved in the management of the company for probably pretty close to 5 years.
It's good to call us out. This is our private equity corner. I'm trying to brand that within the podcast.
Private equity corner?
Corner.
Yeah,
like
well, we're sitting in the corner. So
yeah. Like, I'm trying to, almost every podcast now, I'm trying to discuss private
Yeah.
equity for 5 minutes, just to like,
Yeah.
because I think ultimately I'm talking to some people that, like, honestly, like a lot of the people I'm trying to talk to
Yeah.
are like in one of these, or like it's happening.
A big thing right now.
Yeah.
It's a big thing right now, and
Yeah.
that's so there's that. I mean, but I already had a management team in place. I already had a complete structure. I'm still there for them. I will be forever. Those people are, they're like family. I mean, we have been through the absolute trenches,
Mhm.
and like if they need me, I'm there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And that'll go forever.
Respect. Is there any little tips that you might have for our audience about, as they're considering the different platforms out there, things to watch out for, things that you think that they should recommend looking at in a situation like this? Something that they could take away, that they could say, all right, I can make a little bit better, just a tiny little bit better decision on this.
What I was talking about earlier, know your numbers. Absolutely know your numbers.
Mm.
And increase operational efficiencies and increase that net profit margin. Those are the things. I mean, ultimately, a construction company is valued on its profit, right? And the technical term is EBITDA, and it's actually adjusted EBITDA. But if you focus in on profit, you're getting close enough. If you focus in on net profit, you're getting close enough for rock and roll.
Is it tax adjusted EBITDA, or what does that mean? Adjusted EBITDA.
Well, so there's a lot of what they're looking for at adjusted EBITDA. They're really looking for your discretionary cash flow. So they're looking for how much money, how much cash does this business generate
that could be ours,
that could be taken or reinvested. More often reinvested, right? In the case of a roll up, it's all that money is deployed for growth. That's the goal, is growth. Because
they're not, a lot of these private equity firms are not really trying to milk your company for cash in this next 5 years. They're, from what I can tell, they're doing it to get a bigger payday 5 years from now or whatever.
They're not trying to milk your company for cash at all.
Because they don't need your cash.
Nope.
This isn't a play to get a couple extra bucks out of your roofing company. It's because they need to spend that money, because private equity has to spend that money, or else they don't get their 2%.
They're seeing the company as an asset. Right? And they want to grow the value of that asset. So the actual profit generated is, small compared to the value of the company.
And where it gets sold,
deployed properly.
And they do want to. From what I can tell, they want to sell it. Like there's good. What do they call it? A thesis? They've got all these different theses. And if it's a good thesis and they get to sell it again on the, what do they call it? The flip. Then.
The turn.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Then they could get a large payout if they do that, but they have to help that happen by either like giving you intellectual capital or getting buying power from several of them coming together. What do you think is
all the above? No, there's a lot of different theses, and I think a person interested should really talk to a lot of people, talk to as many of them as you can. Hear what they have to say. I think something to be very, very careful of is that they throw out a lot of, because the business is valued on a multiple of your profit, right? So use round numbers, use small fake numbers, right? Let's say your business made $10 in profit, and the multiple was 10. Your business would be worth $100, right? Well, you might go out and you're making $10 in profit, and this guy says, we'll give you a multiple of 7. So this guy's saying your business is worth $70. Next one comes along and says, we'll give you a 9 multiple, right? So we're going to give you $90. And that sounds really good, right? Right? I mean, unless you didn't believe at all, you thought the second guy was full of shit, and you didn't want to work with them, and you didn't believe in their thesis, and you didn't think it was going to be positive, and whatever else. Like, you probably...
Can you make them real numbers so somebody can have an emotional reaction to this?
You want real numbers? See, I was trying to remove the emotions. Okay, so let's say you're making $5 million in profit. Right? $5 million in profit. One company says we'll give you a 6 multiple. So we're going to give you $30 million. Somebody else comes along and says we're going to give you an 8 multiple. So we're going to give you $40 million. Right?
Now I can feel it.
Now you can feel it. You're probably, unless you really don't believe that second guy, you're probably thinking, I'll take that extra $10 million, right? Yes, and that's what they're counting on. A lot of them coming out with these insane multiples are absolutely playing a game, because what they're going to do is come in and they're going to sign an LOI saying we'll give you $40 million, and then they're going to go in and they're going to beat up your $5 million. So they'll still give you a 9 multiple,
but on 3,
But now you got you beat down to $3 million.
You would have been better off choosing the guy that was more reasonable from the get-go.
Exactly. Now, some of these adjustments happen, and that's perfectly normal, and these adjustments are going to happen on every deal, right? That's why that EBITDA or profit is adjusted up and down for various things. Some things are actually going to increase it. Some things are going to actually decrease it. But you have to be dealing with somebody that's honest with that, and you have to understand your numbers. so that you can make sure you're educated and you know what those adjustments are and why they're being made. And what those people that come in and promise you the that extra $10 million are counting on is beating you up until you have what's called deal fatigue. And you finally get down there and you go, oh man, all right, it's only 27 million, but 27 million is still a shit ton of money. I've made it this far. If I back out now, I might have a hard time finding another deal, and those other deals might have moved on, and I might get nothing.
You might get a bad name. That's because or why did they pass on them, or why did this not go through?
Exactly, and that's right when they're going to squeeze another couple million out of you, and then you're going to wind up with 25.
Yeah,
and it happens all the time.
And I think it is tough for some people that aren't looking at these numbers yet, and 25 or 10 or 8 or 6 or 5 or whatever it is
you
to
wanted
them.
an emotional reaction, so you.
No. I like it, but I'm saying like because that just looks like life-changing money.
It is life-changing money, of course.
So, and it could be, right? So that's the question is like, take it or not take it, and that's a personal decision.
Take it, and they're in the middle, and they've been in the middle of this for 4 months.
Yeah.
They've basically been working an extra job going through the process.
Yeah.
And they're just like, the risk is so high, and that's what a lot of those guys are counting on. But you know what I think it really is?
What?
It is so seductive.
Yeah.
To have somebody come in and say, "I'll give you an extra 10 million over that other guy," and I think they want to believe it, no matter what. They just don't want to sit back and go, "That sounds too good to be true."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because they're gonna get the best deal they can realistically at the end. It's not like anyone's.
And you should.
They're looking for roofing companies.
They are.
And aggressively, but they're not going to be idiots about it. Just know that.
Yeah. These are very, very smart individuals, which I think leads into the second part. One is, look at it, and just like you wouldn't go out and let's say you're trying to get you're trying to replace your cabinets.
Yeah.
And you got 3 bids, and they were all $30,000, and then somebody else came in at 20.
Yeah.
You'd probably throw out that 20.
Mm-hmm.
This is just in reverse. You get 3 people that say, we'll give you a 6 multiple.
Yeah.
And somebody else comes in and says, we'll give you an 8. You should probably watch it. That's the first thing. The second thing is to really, really deep dive on the culture of the group. And what I'm seeing a lot of is I'm seeing a lot of private equity groups that aren't paying a lot of attention to the actual culture and making sure that there's cultural alignments. And that's not just woo-woo to me. That is at the core of every company I've started.
Well, you don't want them to mess up the ecosystem, which is like a stomach flora or something like that. It's living organism.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to bust in there and do something dumb.
RoofCon is definitely the best conference I've ever attended, and I've been to several. We go to several every single year.
I bought the tickets. I said, we're going.
This year they broke 5,000 tickets, so it's growing bigger and bigger every single year.
If you're not here, I don't know where you're at.
Definitely coming back 2024. See you then.
RoofCon, the #1 conference for the roofing and solar community, is coming back to Orlando, October 23rd through 25th, 2024. Get your tickets today at roofcon.com.
Want to do something dumb, and there's going to be a process, and you have your people to consider, and there's typically reinvestments, and that's actually where the bulk of the money is made, is on reinvestments. And
what do you mean? Sorry, reinvestments?
Yeah, so you reinvest a portion into the platform.
Ah, yes, okay, yeah, and I think most people would probably know what that means, but give a brief kind of explanation.
You know what I'm going to do instead?
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest that anybody watching this show calls Michael Kessler,
okay,
who was the advisor that I worked with.
Okay.
and he will be able to speak.
He's not a private equity guy. He's a kind of an independent.
He represents people that are interested in selling their business.
Okay.
I'm going to recommend. So if you're watching and you want to learn more about what I'm saying, shoot Tim a DM, and I'm going to get you Michael Kessler's phone number, and you can share it. Does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. He's not him, an advisor that you fully trust and recommend.
Yeah.
He made a lot of money on my deal.
Yeah.
It was a big amount of money, worth every single penny, and then some.
Nice.
I am very grateful for every penny that I paid that guy. I got my money's worth.
Good. I love to hear it, man. All right, let's talk about the multiple companies thing, because you were at one point running 3, or you were part of the leadership of 3 companies, or you kind of like.
No.
I'm more like wondering around like the transition over, because people will need something to do after they sell their roofing company, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're an entrepreneur, okay? There's no.
It's in my blood. I'd go nuts.
Very few people can just sit there.
Yeah.
And like, if you're gonna sit there, like, God bless you, I wish I could. But like, you got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And multiple companies, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess kind of what I've gotten, what I've figured out is I'm really good at starting things. I'm not very good at finishing them, and I'm really good at starting things. And so I figured that out quite a while ago, and I just really focused in on, okay, I'm good at starting stuff, and let's put some people in charge.
What do you call yourself in this situation? Do you just think of yourself as an owner, a stakeholder? You don't call yourself CEO for any of these companies?
No.
So you get CEOs and you put them in place.
CEOs in place.
Yeah. And I guess let's talk about that.
I still think of myself as a roofer, so.
Oh yeah. You're a roofer who puts CEOs in place of other companies. Gang. And shit, sometimes I like to think of myself as a roofer. I'm just a hanger-on, you know.
There, man. Yeah, we talked about PWI yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know why.
There you go.
By the way, that guy was texting me. I gotta send him over some more information.
There you go. All right. Hopefully he's watching.
Yeah. So, when you're looking for a CEO, that's a cool conversation to have. When you're looking for somebody to put in place that might run a company of yours. Let's say, I'm going to say might, because maybe some of our guys aren't in that spot yet. And I'm thinking about a company, having somebody go from chief of operations to president at my company.
Yes.
And a lot of people are out there, they're thinking about like how to get somebody in that crazy key role. And I mean, like, besides the obvious advice around high performers and things like that, what are the traits you look for in these types of people? What are the things you kind of like, you would recommend for? I mean, let's just do it to me right now. What are you thinking about when you're putting in a leader that's going to be CEO at a company?
Oh man, I mean, you're going to be disappointed in me here. Have just been insanely blessed to be able to work with really, really talented, smart people, and the type of people that are far more intelligent than I am. And
what makes you think you attract those people?
I literally ask myself that probably twice a week. I bet twice a week I'm working with somebody, and most. And
I appreciate your humility, but if there's anything else you can give us,
no, I will. I'll get to it, but it's not false either. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
You know a lot of my people.
Yeah, you have very smart people working with you.
They're super smart, man.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
And I'm guessing you pay them well.
Half the time. I pay them well, and they all are set up to. I like to have an abundance mindset. An analogy I've used with a lot of people over the years is, look, here's a pie. You got two, abundance versus scarcity. I like to use the pie analogy, right? Scarcity mindset, this is how big the pie is.
Yeah.
Right? So if you and I are sharing this pie, in order for you to get a bigger piece of pie, I need to get a smaller piece of pie. So in order for you to get a bigger piece of pie, you need to take some of my pie, right? And that's a scarcity mindset.
And I do love pie.
Yeah, me too. That's why I use the analogy.
Yeah.
An abundance mindset is, we can both have bigger pieces of pie. Let's just make a bigger pie, right?
Yeah.
So key leaders in key stakeholders in every company I've started have a slice of pie. And that's their slice of pie. And if we all want a bigger slice of pie, we just have to bake a bigger pie.
So they own part of the companies?
It can look a lot of ways, right?
Okay.
It hasn't always been that way where there was an actual equity stake. I mean, now there is, right? And I really consider myself an investor in these companies. That's like really my role right now is more that of an investor. So along with that, they have actual equity stakes in these companies. You know, I think in certain sizes of companies, you have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
You know, you can set up incentive plans, and you know, there's different things you can do with stock options that make a lot of sense. But to just give equity to an employee is something you probably want to think real long and hard. I'd be happy to talk with anybody that is interested.
I think that's an interesting thing, and like 100%, I could see how that would be attractive to a real key player type person.
Yep, a real key player, and it's good because if you want, and at the end of the day, I mean, like it's pretty simple for me. I looked at it. I want my key players to act like owners and think like owners and consider themselves owners, and the easiest way is to actually make them owners.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's a little bit of morality in it too. I've been in the trenches with these people. I've worked with them hard, and this is not false humility. This is actual objective fact that I could back up. That far more of the credit of the success of any of the companies I've been involved in belongs to the people doing the work, and especially the key leadership, than it does to me. I quite often will have a spark of an idea or be involved in the idea being generated, right? You know, one of the people helping to generate, like, hey, this is a cool concept, should we pursue it? You know, I'm, you know, involved at the very beginning, but they're the ones really truly running and building and running with that idea. I just seem to, in kind of a weird way, just like tell them they can. And if we do it, you're going to share in the rewards. I'm not taking all the rewards. I'm sharing that out with my team, period, every time. My key leadership is going to be there. I don't want to be rich alone. That sounds terrible. I want to be rich with the people that help me get there.
That's good.
And so outside of, as far as traits go, specific traits, you better understand your numbers.
Yeah.
You getting sick of hearing that yet?
Yeah. Hey.
If I got a CEO of a company, he better know how to read a fucking profit and loss statement. You better know how to budget and forecast. You better know how to adjust the budget and forecast. Outside of that, there's big culture. You know, for me personally, servant leadership is a really core tenet. It's not just woo-woo, it's not just feel good. I think it's actually the best business move to lead with the servant leadership mentality.
What does that mean to you?
Servant leadership?
Yeah.
Sum it up in as few words as possible. How much time we got here?
3 days.
3 days?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can just wax poetic on this for as long as I want?
Sure.
No, I'll still keep it short, I promise. Basically doing things, making the decisions that are in the best interests of the people that trust you to make those decisions. So if I'm making a decision about a company, I'm doing it because I truly in my heart believe this is the best decision for the people in that company. And because what the hell is a company in roofing? It's people. That's it. That is a company. A company is just a group of people striving towards a common goal. That's the company. So if I'm making a decision, it's because I truly in my heart believe it is the best decision for those people that have trusted me to make that decision. And if I'm going to put a CEO in place, I better be really, really damn sure that he shares that mentality. That he's not going to make decisions based on what's best for his pocket or his career or what's easiest for him or her. I keep saying him, but that, you know, best for him or her.
You know, I was about to virtue signal on you.
Were you just going to smash me?
I was going to virtue signal so hard on you for a second there.
Canceled out. Damn it,
you knew it was going to happen.
yeah, no.
Accept your fate.
Yeah, no, for real. That was a slip. But that's, you know, so I have to know for sure that that's the case. And then somebody with leadership ability, which very often is not somebody coming in with the rah Braveheart, you know, let's sever heads, charge spears. You know, sometimes leadership is really understated, but just has that ability to connect with other people. And you know, and people are willing to follow that person, which can be taught. Frankly, I mean, I'm a very firm believer that can be taught.
I would follow you into a war of some type. I mean, like,
Thank you.
I think, like, I would want to have a shield. You know, I think we'd be Vikings probably. Maybe a Viking style thing. We'd listen to that song on your playlist with like the weird Nordic music that like is kind of fucking frightening. I might send that to my editor to play right here.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Yeah, like rowing with that music, dude.
Yeah, with the axe strapped to your back.
Like through waves.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
I told you that's my PR song.
Yeah.
If I'm going for a PR, dude, I'm like sitting, I'm psyching myself, and I am listening to that song every time, dude.
It's kind of a calm war song, but it's like terrifying. Yeah. Talking about old stuff, we're talking about old war. I wanted to pick your brain on stoicism for a second.
Let's go. We just got done talking about this on Ty's podcast.
So
you, like, shanghaied me into that without knowing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that? You be careful with this guy.
Yeah, I'll get you on a podcast.
Hey, come over here and sit in this chair. Like, ask some questions first, all right?
We were just getting warmed up. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy. I think it was Greek or Roman. And it was like they met under a stoa, which is a covered walkway. It seems to be related to like acceptance and accepting and not judging the circumstances at hand, it seems like.
Self-control.
What would you say like a business leader could take from stoicism to apply to leadership that would be helpful for their company?
You know, again, I think rah-rahs have their place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're good. And but it's not every day. I think every day people want stability, and they want somebody that is going to be calm, cool, collected in moments of crisis, and they want somebody that's going to be calm, cool, and collected in good times and in bad and in the terrible ones, which come in business. If you are in business long enough. What's up? What's that?
We are currently, guys, I understand you want to get to our level and all that. We appreciate that you want to get to our level, but you're going to have to grapple, dude.
We're at Eric Overhand.
You're going to have to scratch and claw your way up the wall.
Dude, I should have put on the shirt from this.
And that's not just a metaphor. You have to scratch and
claw. T-shirt for this event that we're at, man.
Yeah.
We're at the coolest event that Eric put on, Eric Overhand. And his cult culture is, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're in a mansion right now.
We are literally sitting in a mansion in the Caymans
that would survive a hurricane.
I think it has
hurricane
survive
shutters.
A hurricane.
Okay.
And Eric did an amazing job on this thing. I had no doubt he was going to kill it, but I have been blowing
Oh
away.
yeah, and there's a chef that's like just
Yeah.
absolutely
Dude,
incredible.
Every meal is mouth-watering. Scuba diving today was incredible. Yeah, so yeah, it was cool. So,
And
all right.
I've been interested in Stoicism this last few weeks because I was preparing for this podcast, and I honestly, it's already been useful to me. So thank you for that. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah.
Meditations and one other book about it, and trying to apply some of the principles. Definitely, I relate it to cool, just the word cool, because I think honestly, to me, what cool means, like calm, cool, collected, means unbothered when stuff doesn't go your way, kind of thing. And I think like business is like basically just that over and over and over again for years on end sometimes, mixed in with like really incredible, amazing wins. But it also doesn't feel like you have full control of that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have much control over a lot of stuff that happens. Nobody saw COVID coming.
Yeah.
Right? And probably in the middle of COVID at the very beginning, if we're in March of 2020 right now, a lot of people are probably really, really afraid and assumed that it was going to be 2008 all over again for the construction industry.
Mm-hmm.
And business just wound up booming, kind of as a direct result of those lockdowns, right? But I think approaching that with a stoic mindset would be nothing we can do about the government shutting down our country because of a pandemic, right? Can't control that.
Mm-hmm.
We can control our reaction to that. We can stay calm. We can take a analytic approach to the facts on the ground as we know them right now and take the best course of action for our people. And then what comes. And I think that's what people are looking for in leaders far more than the charismatic rah-rah, right? The far more. And that's I think is Stoic philosophy, and you don't even have to deep dive this stuff. You don't have to go all the way in.
Yeah.
It's not anti-Christian
at
all.
Yeah.
Right. I actually align a lot of it with my faith, and but that's what you'd be able to pull from it, regardless of what.
I feel like
happens.
the Serenity Prayer has like Stoic roots. The acceptance, the courage to change
100%.
things I can. The the acceptance to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. That basically feels like Stoicism, kind of in a nutshell, in a way.
Yeah. It's very very aligned.
Or at least it's one piece.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of things with Stoicism, and I know that I'm oversimplifying. I think it's an interesting philosophy. I'd recommend you guys check out a modern adaptation of Meditations, like Joe recommended to me.
Yeah. Oh, I warned you to get the modern adaptation version. Yeah.
No, because
D's and thous get real hard to read real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but life's a journey, and I think I would say this: looking into Stoicism sure isn't going to make your life worse.
Yeah.
Right. It's not going to make you a worse person. That's for sure.
And is there anything you'd like to plug here at the end? Anything that?
We're at the end already?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? It doesn't have to be the end.
We didn't even get to the latest business, SMA. Is that the plug? Is this where I plug it?
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah.
Well, I'm good at segues.
Okay.
If you're looking for ways to simplify your business so that you're able to, be calmer.
Yeah.
And be a little less thrown off when things don't go your way, it's nice to have backup and support. So you can kind of tie it in there, I think.
Brought to you by our sponsors. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't do that. But it's, and actually, looking at the genesis of my career, I started as a roofer, right? And then what I've been very privileged to be a part of.
We're filming a podcast, y'all. Yeah.
They keep hitting me on. I'm on a stride too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, looking at the genesis of my career, I started as a roofer. That's where I got into this industry. And the last couple companies that I started have really been actually to serve roofing contractors, right? To come in and take a lot of the lessons I learned in scaling that business and bring solutions that make it easier and less painful for companies that are in the middle of scaling right now, which a lot of them are, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really the goal. And the newest one now is SMA Support Services. And, it's smasupportservices.us. You can go on and learn a lot about it, but it's really meant to pave the way for that scaling process.
What types of tasks do you guys handle? What kind? Because back office support a lot of times, right?
It's back office support, and it actually we quite literally touch every single part of the project of a customer journey from actually right where you leave off.
Yeah.
So where your business brings people into a website and converts them into a contact, SMA touches from that point all the way through to final check collection and soliciting reviews online, all the way through it for various parts. We only do touch every part for a couple of our clients, but amongst our 25 clients currently, we touch every single part of that process.
Nice.
So that's a lot, but really in a nutshell, what it is meant to do is ease a lot of those burdens for contractors at those inflection points. So you're at 5 million and you're in that slog of 5 to 7 million, right? We can ease a lot of that friction, a lot of that pain. You're at 15 million, which is, to me, I think the next real inflection point that requires a different structure. To get up to that between 15 and 20 million is a really, really painful size, right? We ease a lot of those transition periods. And then once you're bigger and you're still growing, but you're focused more on operational efficiencies, we can also come in and help a lot there. But really going to smasupportservices.us and you could learn a lot about it.
Awesome. And, I think about I'm a $5 million company.
Yeah,
but
you got a little different business model.
But I identify as a
revenue, man.
But I identify as a $7 million company. It's so funny. I literally think about it I think about us as a bigger size than we are because I'm seeing a little ways out.
Yeah. And
I just I'm so future focused.
Yeah, that can be a challenge sometimes.
It's a difficult part. Yeah, it's a dopamine addiction.
Yeah.
Because it's that's anticipation.
Yeah.
And I want, it's definitely so that's why Stoicism is useful for me a little bit because but in meditation, I do Zen meditation, basically and
cold plunges,
working out really hard.
Yeah, buddy.
Lift heavy weights.
After this.
All right. Yeah. I'm done.
Let's go.
I'm committing to it on this.
There you go. I'll let y'all know if he backs out. No,
exactly. Comment below if you think I backed out. I'll fight you. So there's a lot of challenges with just that really being kind of focused on that next step where you got to stay in the moment kind of things as a business owner. Because
staying present is difficult for guys like us, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly, because I
bet a lot of people watching can.
Well, part of the reason I think it is because there's the more people I have in my organization, I have 30.
Yes.
So the more people you have,
you're at an inflection point as well.
You talk, exactly. You talk about a layer of leadership. You have to be ahead of them. It's for goal setting and vision and just tightening things up so that you can communicate to them. And then there's another layer of leaders underneath them. And then they have people underneath them. So literally, I've just noticed before a quarter kickoff, I have a kickoff before the thing and I have a kickoff, you know what I mean? Just to get it tight, especially on those year ones.
Yeah.
Or whatever, just to set big goals because you have to have it tight. So there's a lot of and you also have to be thinking further than people. So you have to be before people on kickoffs and all this goal setting and everything so that's tight so that they can do their thing.
Yeah.
And then you have to be ahead of them on, I see what will be a major challenge in the next year or two. And I got to start thinking about what our solutions will be to that challenge, because no one else is thinking that far ahead in my business. And I mean, like it's bad when I think 10 years ahead, because I don't have X-ray vision or whatever you'd call that. Like
it gets fuzzy that far out.
Yeah, like 5 years I can see a little bit.
Kind of, yeah.
2 years, I think I kind of know generally I know some major challenges at least.
Yeah. Over
the next couple of years. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're at the point you have to train and lead leaders.
Yeah.
You can't lead anymore. You have to teach people how to lead.
I'm starting to call that, like, so I heard transformational leadership is a way to say that. But I started this year, I said, I want my new identity to be a leader of leaders.
Yeah.
But I think I might be changing it to transformational leader. Like, I want to be a transformational leader.
Up-leveling people?
Yeah. If I can help up-level some leaders and train them how to up-level other people.
Yeah.
Like, that could be big.
Does anything feel as good as watching somebody flourish, though?
Oh, no.
Right?
It's the best.
And just looking back and going, man, I had a hand in that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like nothing, man.
Yeah.
Nothing can touch it in business. I mean,
oh, no, it's the best. That's definitely, to me, the best things for me are getting to talk to other entrepreneurs like you. Like, this is one of those moments.
Yeah.
And that. Like, those are the two main things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the best parts.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or like you see them leading somebody and that person's kind of changing people's lives.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You watch it happen. It's a lot of fun, man.
But that's why you shouldn't be scared to grow. Even though, like, you kind of talk about the pitfalls of business and all that, like, you don't be afraid to grow, because there is, be smart, get your numbers down, but like, you will change people's lives if you try to be a good leader of leaders. Yeah,
you will. But there's another side to that coin, and that's, I've talked to various teams. Right now it's SMA mostly, but I've talked to various teams about that before too. Like, we have to grow, because if you want to attract actual top talents, if you want to attract the type of people that can be CEO of your company, so that you can be an investor, right? They have to have runway.
Yeah.
You are not going to attract high-level, intelligent, moral, hardworking individuals that are ambitious, right? And know how to take calculated risks and are willing to take calculated risks, and then say, I got great news for you. This job you're doing right now, you're going to be doing it for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
Or 10 years, or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you want those types of people, you better have a runway for them. You better have some really good opportunities ahead of them consistently.
Exactly.
So when you're looking out 2 years, you're looking at the organization, but what does this mean for Sydney? How is Sydney's life going to be better in 2 years because of the growth? And
it can't just be money.
No, man, no.
Yeah.
Money's, I would say, it's not even the top factor. It's our easiest, right?
Yeah.
It's the easiest one to control.
But I know what she's motivated by.
Yeah.
And it's actually like social standing, really. But it's like, how could we help her experience more fulfilling relationships?
Yeah.
At work. And that is part of that, is leading a couple people, like at least a couple people,
Yeah, the motivations are different for everybody. And but you better have some runway ahead of them. And the only way to give people runway in an organization is for that organization to grow. If your organization is not growing, you are not creating opportunities for your senior people to level up, which then allows other people to level up, and other people over here to have opportunities to level up. And if your organization's not growing, everybody that's there right now is going to be doing their exact same job. Maybe some bilateral movement. Maybe they move from sales to production, or vice versa, or you know what I mean? But there's not any actual growth in people's individual professional lives without the organization growing.
Joe, may I ask you something?
Yeah, anything. I can't promise I'll answer, but you can ask me anything. I won't get offended.
Would you say that staying small is selfish for a lot of companies?
No, not at all. Right now we're talking about growing companies, and you asked me about how do I find CEOs and how do I choose who is going to be a CEO and what I look for in a CEO, and we're talking about growth. But this is something we talk a lot about too. Not everybody wants to change. There are lots and lots of people in our country, in this world, that want stability over opportunity. And if you are running an organization or you are part of an organization, and the main culture there is one of stability, then I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with staying small. You can still get better. Everybody can get better at their jobs. They can make slightly more money. They probably keep pace with inflation at least, right? But if they're happy with how big their slice of pie is, and they just want to make damn sure they're going to keep that slice of pie forever until they retire, and they're really content, and they want to know exactly what they're going to do every day, and that's what drives them, then no, I don't think it's selfish at all.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think even within growing organizations, in a healthy growing organization, you'll find team members that prioritize stability over opportunity, and I think there's ways that you can provide them with opportunities to get better at their job and continue to make more money, but also provide that stability to them. And so no, I think $1 million roofing company or a $3 million roofing company probably is an absolutely perfect size. They can do great work for their customers. The owner can have a really, really fantastic lifestyle that he can afford to pay his people well, and they can go on forever. As long as you know your numbers, as long as you know how to read a damn P&L statement.
You don't think they're going to get smashed by private equity?
That is one that I can't predict.
That's a philosophical question at the moment, it feels like.
My personal prediction is that the people in the middle are the ones that are most at risk.
Because they were like a market leader in a smaller market or something like that, and they just are like, they're easy to chop off because they didn't really have a major, actual major competitive advantage, but they kind of thrived in a middle market. Or why do you think that is?
Middle-sized companies?
Yeah.
No, because those $3 million roofing companies that I mentioned, very low overhead as a percentage of revenue. The owners doing most of the sales probably are a good chunk, so there's a huge portion of commission that goes back to the bottom line. They can operate on slimmer gross margins, and with that lower overhead, it's a lot easier to weather a lot of storms sometimes. But once you get over that 15 million revenue mark, I would say all the way up to pretty close to 100 million revenue. Inside of that range, you don't have enough to take advantage of the operational efficiencies that these massive companies are going to be deploying. Once you get to a certain scale, there's certain operational efficiencies that they're going to be able to deploy, and that's actually SMA. SMA helps with those operational efficiencies. It does bring some of those operational efficiencies, most actually of those operational efficiencies, to those mid-size contractors. But there's a lot of them, and they're not all our clients yet. So
absolutely. So check them out. It's smasupportservices.us.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm going to wrap up with...
Oh yeah, I thought we were gonna wrap up. This is like a Minnesota goodbye.
Yeah, this is a Minnesota
This is
goodbye.
like a Minnesota goodbye podcast.
And if you're not afraid to grow, I like to say, come talk to Hook Agency, hookagency.com. We help you grow with aggressive lead generation services, SEO, PPC, and websites. And we care about our clients, and we love the roofing industry. So we'd love to chat if it's appropriate. We do an intro call, very low pressure. And we work with a lot of roofing companies around the country, and proud to be of service. So hit us up, hookagency.com, Hook Agency all over social.
I can personally vouch for this guy right here too. Not just because he's got me on his podcast. That's a lot. Can we throw one more shout out?
Yeah, please.
Let's throw a shout out to the cold culture movement.
Oh yeah.
The Eric that we're sitting here enjoying this
absolutely
fantastic thing. If you're looking for culture in your company, I did some reading on what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it looks like a really fantastic program that will be worth the investment.
Absolutely, and it's leadership and culture and stuff, teaching.
Yep, exactly.
And then if this happens again, this is like a badass trip to Grand Cayman, and it's been really cool scuba diving, and I think it is probably going to happen again next year. So
I'll be back here next year for sure, and I also promise you I'm going to duplicate this trip in this same building.
Yeah, this building is
like,
sweet.
With my family or with a leadership team or something. Like I'm just going to say, hey, Eric, can you just tell me everything that you did so that I can do it too?
Including the chef.
Give me the phone numbers, hit the chef, man. Let's keep him going. The scuba diving, all of it. I just want to copy that trip.
It's pretty clear they did some things right here.
Yeah, he put some thought in. He knew what he was doing.
Shout out. Appreciate y'all. Thank you guys so much. Please comment, like, subscribe, etc. If you're on iTunes or Spotify, could you rate and review this podcast? Thank you guys.
5 stars only though.
If you thought it sucked,
don't listen
I would be so happy if you just at least reviewed it. Yeah. No, just review it for real. It means a lot. And it really does matter so more people can see this.
I'm just trying to make shit that has to get cut out at this point in time.
No, but at this, once you have stuff this late in the podcast, it doesn't get chopped because
it doesn't get chopped.
The editor is kind of scrubbing, you know what I mean? Like he's like looking for like egregious mistakes.
I'm just trying to make the editor's job harder. At this point in time.
Jack, don't worry about it. Keep all this.
You're up to the task, Jack.
It's kind of crazy though. We got and I'll just wrap this up with a ramble. We get a good 300, 400 views on some of these, and I'm really proud of that.
You got a good one. I've watched multiple of them. They're great.
And especially, I think these ones with higher level CEOs or people that have exited or people that are, I don't know, that like 10 to 20, like roofing companies that like did something that other roofing companies really want to do. I'm just grateful that we get them on here because really younger guys, they don't always get to have. You say, like a lot of them say like, oh, message me or phone call. And yes, those things are lovely and sometimes it's good. But like, these are ways to get some of that if I ask good questions. So you guys, if you have any ideas about how I could ask better questions, drop them below. I'll ask. If you contribute ever on this, I do get better. And I have gotten better. I'm going to continue to get better. Yeah. Because I actually do look at your comments and I'll improve a little bit based on it. Like
Don't be too mean on the comments.
Yeah. Be mean. We need it. And the algorithm needs all of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter?
I don't care anymore.
Oh, really?
Well,
you let that go?
Well, I didn't really fully let it go, but there's just, I was telling you about this viral video that just hit 5 million. And
man.
And Rufal's on it. Yeah. It just hit 5 million today. Rufal's on it. And Hook Agency is on it.
Yeah.
And literally like 30 comments every single, it's more like hundreds of comments every single day for the past couple weeks. And most of them are mean as hell.
I know, dude. And Frank is such a good guy.
He's a nice guy.
Having fun with his daughter. It's the most wholesome thing ever.
But people just lose it. And I just it feels like you just kind of get numbed to it, which I think is a good thing. Or at least
you get more stoic.
It's a maybe. It's a maybe for me. Basically, I'm okay with whatever. As long as they're telling the truth. You know, just like I need to tell the truth. Like I like these things to be honest, even if it's uncomfortable or whatever, because it's basically
just the mindless hate, though.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but I also don't care.
Dude, you know a comment?
That's the reason that it went to 5,000 or 5 million.
We did all these commercials one time that we used our actual employees and they were intentionally cheesy, right?
Yeah.
And somebody posted on one of the comments, all you have is fat white people in your commercial and it makes me sick.
Yeah.
One of them was my fucking mom. And I'm like, dude, you mother.
Did you hunt them down?
Oh, no, it's a faceless person on the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
what am I going to do? But that one, I was like, if
Yeah.
you knew what that woman did for me.
Yeah, some of you guys, some of you people on the internet
So you're that guy, fuck off.
that do hater comments,
Yeah.
you best fucking thank your lucky stars we have businesses and aren't just psychopaths beasts. Because we are underneath it all. We are all
those
the
people talking shit
we are
about
just
Frank. I
beasts.
wanted to get on there and just be like, dude, don't be a dick, man. He's such a good guy.
I do that every once in a while. Like 1 out of every 100, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna respond.
Yeah.
But
Can I respond? I can go in and respond, can
yeah,
I? All right, dude. We'll see what happens tonight.
this has to be 5 times longer than our average podcast. I usually,
I'm
hey,
doing it on purpose. You know that, right?
thank you guys. Appreciate it. It's time to work out.